All right, animation one. So we're going to do a simple walk cycle. So before we have you guys do your walk cycle with your character, it has all the details. Let's just start one with just like a stick figure and just see what happens. All right. So we're first going to start with our walk cycle. Here we go. I already created one, and I'm going to show you how to get here. Ready? So I have a character, and he is walking. And it's the nice thing about a cycle is it goes on forever. It's just a continuous walk cycle. Okay. Notice that I don't have him walking across the stage. This character stays in the same place the entire time. So what that means is you're going to have to draw in the same area every time, every frame. Okay. So here we go. We're going to start scratch. Right. I'm going to go to File, New, and we're going to create a new document. I'm going to do a full HD, 1920 by 1080 in Animate. Okay. To get to Animate, if you don't know, the launch pad at the bottom of your screen, and if you're at home and you're on a PC, it may be different on how do you open up the software once you downloaded it. If you've at home only downloaded Photoshop at this point, you're also going to need Animate, so take the time to download it now. So here's Animate. Mine's 2019, yours will be 2020. If you're downloading it at home, that's perfectly fine too, all the same functionality. Okay. So File, New, I'm going to do a full HD 1920 by 1080 frames, 30 frames per second. It works perfect. This does need to say ActionScript 3.0. That is important. We'll talk about later about why you'd use these other ones, but for now, ActionScript 3.0, create. Now I have this blank canvas. Now, here's the interface for Animate. The nice thing about Animate is that it is way simpler than Photoshop because it only does the one thing. Photoshop does lots of things. Animate does animations. So up here, I have... This is what we call the stage, right? This is the stage where my animation is going to take place. Down here is my timeline. Over here are my options that I have. In Photoshop, they were at the top, but over here, they're on the side. And then here are my tools, okay? So let's start with this. I'm going to go here, and I want to be able to see the entire stage. So I'm going to go to Fit in Window, from 100% to Fit in Window, okay? All right. Now, down here, I have this layer, right? And this is the world that I've created. But what I don't have right now is time. I need to create time, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out just, I don't know. We're going to do how long was it on this one? Cool, right. So we're going to go out 16 frames. So I'm going to go out to 16. And this is number 16. All right. And then I'm going to go to Insert at the top, Timeline, Frame. Now, I have created time. I can scrub through time. Of course, I don't have anything on the stage yet, but I have time. All right? So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up our stage to do this. To do that, I would like you to go to View, and then go to Rulers. All right? Now, it brings this like this just rulers, but the nice thing about rulers is I can click here and drag and drop. I want you to click and drag a guideline just about where I have my guideline. Right there, and then right there. And what are these going to be? These are going to be this line right there and that line right there. Because you notice as the person is walking, their body changes from being upright to higher depending upon what their feet are doing at that moment. So as the leg bends, the head drops. As the leg extends, the head raises. As I'm up on my tiptoes, my head surpasses that line. And so I want you to be able to use this guideline here as an indicator of where the head should be, okay? All right, so I have my guideline set out. I'm gonna create a new layer, which is right there, new layer. On that layer, I need this file. I want you to just bring in, you stop it, you silly goose. I want you to bring in this file, which I'm going to give you guys. You guys should all have it on your computer by just dragging and dropping. Drag and drop it in here, okay? Let's resize. If I click on it, on the very top one, I can click and move it around, but to resize it, I have to go down 2 tools to this free transform tool. And I want to be able to make, and you know how it's going out of perspective like that, right? If I hold down Shift, it'll keep it in perspective as I make it bigger. And I want to line up those lines that I've created. So like right there, see like that line at the top here is about the same as my guideline that I have, and this one down here is about the same there. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, I'm super happy because that line lines up perfectly and it looks literally like the feet are touching the guideline that I dropped, so that's great. I'm going to start by moving this first one into the center where I'm going to have my character walking. Okay, I'm going to only work on this one. Let's create a new layer. This is the one I'm actually going to draw on. So I have a couple of tools over here, and this is the one I want you to start with, the paintbrush tool. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, way too big, right? Let's make that smaller, and I can do that right here. Now these are the options for the paintbrush tool. Notice that every tool I go to has different options. Let's make this down here like smaller. Yay. Let's go a little bit smaller. Like a little bit smaller. Okay. Now I'm using a trackpad. I don't have a tab. I don't have a tablet set up for it, so the drawings aren't going to be as nice, but we'll make do. Okay. So remember, we're only going to do circles and lines. So on this first frame, make sure I'm on the very first frame. I'm going to draw my first character. I'm not on the layer of my drawing. Notice that I can turn that layer off to make sure that that's the right one. And in fact, I'm going to name this one template, because this is the template of the walk cycle that I'm following, and this is the one where I'm actually going to create my walk cycle. So, okay, so right there, frame one, I'm happy. Let's just draw this circle, and I'm not going to do, there's mass here, right? It's like a circle. I'm just going to do a line. Line's fine. I'm going to go down and then up, and there's the foot. I'm going to come this way. Yeah, like that. Cool. And then this one comes back, and I'm just literally tracing. All right? Now, I'm going to turn off this layer real quick. There's my drawing. Does it look beautiful? Thank you. I know you're all saying yes. I'm going to turn this back on. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do next for my next one is I'm going to move this layer, this template. I'll move that over. Because now I'm going to draw this next one on top of this one. Okay, but we have to do something first. I'm going to go not to the next frame, but I'm going to skip a frame. Why am I skipping a frame? Well, we call this animating on twos, meaning we don't animate every frame, we animate every other frame, every 2 frames. Why? Well, animation doesn't really require that you animate on every single frame. It looks a little smoother, but at some point the eye really can't tell the difference. So we don't really need to do every single frame, and it's easy. So like literally if you're doing a full second, and that's 24 frames a second, or in our case we did a 30 frames per second, that means that we're animating 15 frames and not actually 30, okay? So I skip. There's the second frame, there's the third frame, and right here, I'm going to go to Insert, Timeline, Blank Keyframe, okay? Because there's already a frame there. I don't need to insert a frame. I already have a frame. Remember, we created time before. And we'll get into like what a keyframe does, but I want to create a blank keyframe, meaning that it's going to get rid of my original drawing. Notice it's gone. It's still there. It's over on 1 and 2, and on 3, we're starting fresh, okay? But what if I wanted to be able to see what I did in previous frames, okay? So like I want to be able to see what my drawing looked like before. To do that, I go over here to these little icons, and one of them is called onion skin. And if I turn on onion skin, I can choose how many frames I see. Right now there's only 1 I drew, and then I can see a low opacity of what my original drawing was from the previous frame, and this is going to come in super helpful. In fact, onion skinning is kind of a requirement here. But I'm going to turn that off for now, okay? Let's quickly draw. And I'm going to zip through this pretty quickly. So we're on our second one. We're looking good. All right. I'm on number 3. So I'm on the right layer of my walk cycle. Feeling happy. Let's draw that circle again. This is really hard with a trackpad. I won't complain though. Okay. Let's copy that one. That arm comes down there. Looking good. That goes that way. Boom. Okay. Same thing. Skip 2 frames. Insert. Timeline, blank keyframe. Now I'm going to move that template over. Let's make sure I lined it up in the right place. So that's in the right place. They're on the same place. So I'm on number 5 now. Same thing. Notice that I'm going above that line now because the head has risen. And so the arm comes straight down. This one, and it may look a little funky when you're drawing these things, particularly when you're doing just stick figures. That's okay though. Okay, I'm happy with that. 1, 2, skip the frames, insert, skip 2 frames. So now I'm on 7, should be on odds. Insert timeline, blank keyframe, right? Let's go down to the template using the transform tool. Let's move that one over. Now I'm at the very high peak. Let's make sure we're in the right spot. We're good. When I say right spot, I mean I'm lining up the template with my past drawing, right? So let's go to this one. And we're going to do this together real quick. Zoom. Okay, I'm not going to... Am I on the right layer? No. Notice that I was drawing and nothing happened. It's because I'm on the wrong layer, right? I'm on a template layer, which you can't draw on because it's a picture. Walk cycle, wrong layer, okay? Now, for the rest of these, I'm not going to say what I'm doing, just because I already walked through the steps. I'm just going to draw them to see what it looks like when we're done, okay? And again, this is just a stick figure, so it's not going to be super great, but it's just to get a sense of what this thing should look like when it's done, okay? So here, I'm going to zip through the last few. Oh, that's bad. See how terrible that is? Look at that foot. That's awful. You guys are going to do way better than me. All right. I think his arm's broken there. That's okay. Skip a 2. Insert timeline blank keyframe. Transform my template. Let's move that guy over. Make sure it's in the right spot. Looking good. This is actually going to be a really terrible walk cycle, but that's okay. I won't judge you guys. Get on the right layer. Almost done. Skip 2. Last one. Right there, skip 2, I'm right here, looking good, insert timeline, blank keyframe. Okay. Oh, the head twice, oh, it's terrible, that's terrible. If you are at home or in class right now and you're laughing at how bad this is, that's okay, I'm not judging you. It is bad. Okay, but notice that I had to end on frame 16. If you found, like right here, you've made too many frames, right? I'm going to insert frame. And this goes too long. Do this for me. Click and drag. And you want to keep 2 frames, okay? And then control click and remove those frames out of there. All right? So what it looks like when you're done is this. Let's have it loop. I'm gonna go to let's test it out and see what it looks like. Control, test. We're gonna test the movie. Oh. Let's get rid of this. Template. You're banished. Control, test movie. Oh, that's hideous. Look how hideous that is. But it is, in essence, a walk cycle. And so you get the point of what it is supposed to look like. Now, this one, I spent a little bit more time on it, added some mass to it, added little hand shapes and stuff like that. And you can see that it has much more of an organic look and feel to it. This took a little more time, right? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I want you to make a generic walk cycle with just stick figures. And then once you figured out how to do that and how to do all the layers and such, then it's easy to go through here and then, okay, well, let's add in the hair. And then you can add in all those elements of the character. And remember, I told you to make a simple character, okay? So if all those details that you added into your design needs to be in this. So if you have socks, those need to be in. If you have a bow tie, that needs to be in. All right, that's it. Am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think so. So that's it. That's creating a simple walk cycle.